Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Big Blues Exploration, video 2. 8, 12 or 18 months, that's when I start planning my next adventures. This trip, Japan. There's over 500 ski resorts in Japan, so narrowing it down is an extremely time-consuming challenge if you don't know where to start. For Japan, it's important to subdivide into its many prefectures, as Japan is a very large country. The length, 1,500 miles or so. A number of steps to think about. First, the amount of snow. When does it fall? In Japan, the answer is often, and lots of it. Around 10 to 14 metres annually. In many prefectures, and sometimes more. Secondly, the size and area. I always find it is good to look at the most rated resorts in the region and then look at my priorities. Closeness to the airport or Shinkansen, also known as the bullet train. How quiet will it be? The price of accommodation and experiences that can be had around said resort. I've picked Nozawa Onsen, Miyako Kogen and Shiga Kogen. Between them, over 12 individual resorts. When it comes to getting there, I will be using a mix of the Shinkansen, local trains and buses. When it comes to accommodation, I will be in a variety of hotels, guest houses and even odd dormitory style rooms. When it comes to skiing, at night time a bed is a bed, if you're only going to be in it for sleep. For certain parts of the trip, I do pick chain hotels, especially in major cities, if I'm going to be there more of the day, as I find it easier to get to the location more conveniently by metro and bus rather than looking for some obscure street late at night using an Uber or other service after a long flight. Cities for me is about spending as little time as possible. I much prefer making time to visit the countryside. For this, the quote-unquote real Japan, where modern meets the ancient, where people have time away from their phones to focus more on enjoying life, not just staring at the screen, perfecting their craft or technique that's been handed down for thousands and thousands of years. I find working out places on Apple Maps, adding the points to where I want to go and visit, then that allows me to cost out the different hotels and find the most efficient ways by bus or train to get to, making my day seamless from start to finish. It's important to note that when getting the rail pass, that it may be cheaper to get individual tickets depending on how many times you want to utilise during your trip. Location and accommodation and what times local bus services run are very important. You can hire cars in Japan, but due to the large distances and expensive tolls, congested roads lead to high fuel costs. If you are in Japan for a week or so, getting there by public transport is normally more cost effective and just as quick. If you're getting to spending more days in resort, then again it is cheaper to take public transport. There is much information online about purchase of tickets in advance online, but there's no need. The reason for this is that there are so many routes that trying to find the most efficient way in advance can be tricky without speaking to staff at the station. For buses, you can be assured, like trains, that when the bus is scheduled for a particular time, it will be there. When booking train tickets, if you have a large amount of luggage or size, then asking station staff will allow you to find the correct trains and right seats, as not every seat is created equal. Other issues when driving, the signs are mainly in Japanese, so without a strong understanding of basic kanji, it will be difficult to find out where to go, costing more in time and money. It is important to take cash with you in Japan, as money is very important. The majority of businesses and shops charge for taking cards, especially foreign ones, and might not even take them at all. In 2021, 90% of Japanese still used cash as their main form of payment, even after a major push to go cashless. Another thing to remember is that tipping is considered an insult and will be returned. They take their job seriously and they realise that you should not need to be incentivised with a tip to do the job correctly. Eating while walking is very taboo, as you should take time to enjoy your food. It is seen as unhygienic and a major cause of littering for people eating while walking or out and about. When planning my route for Japan, I decided to fly business class to try a new experience on 3 different airlines. Secondly, to provide some content and experiences to share to you, dear viewers. The route will include from a Scottish airport to Dublin, then Abu Dhabi, Jakarta, Hong Kong, Taipei and Nagoya, with some other stops in between. In London, Doha, Colombo and Taipei, with British Airways, Qatar Airways, Sri Lankan Airways and Cathay Pacific. Going through Dublin yields a significant saving as the route demand is not as high as London or Manchester, as well as connecting through Doha to a secondary point in the region also yields further reduced costs. After a night stop in Doha and Abu Dhabi, I will be carrying on to Jakarta via Colombo. When booking these flights, I use Google Flights to give an estimate before using the airline website to book, giving more protection and makes it easier to make changes if there's any issues with the flights or cancellation. Flying on One World Airlines offers an excellent opportunity to build tier points, which is part of British Airways currency. 600 to get to silver and 1500 to get to gold. I currently have silver and plan to reach gold this year, which offers more rewards available with access to first class lounges with British Airways and their partners. In another video I will cover this more in depth, and next week the video is to be continued. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.